Hi everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca, Stu, and the crew. I am so happy to have you guys here today. We're making these fabulous shelves that I love so much. I can't wait to show you guys how to make it. So the supplies you're going to need is a staple gun. Dollar Tree now sells them for $5 in the plus section. We'll need some thumbtacks for $1.25. I'm making 2 shelves, so I'll need 2 $1.25 wood plaques. We'll need 4 of these wreath frames and a pack of the large craft sticks. We're also going to need a pencil, some paint, and a paintbrush. We'll use some wood stain, but that's optional. Also, we'll need some scissors and some hot glue, and then something to hang this with. In Dollar Tree, from time to time, we'll sell these sawtooth hangers, and they're over by like the toolboxes and things like that. So let's get crafty. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide what color we want our shelf to be, and I wanted mine to be black finish, but you can paint these any color that you want. You know, of course, make it your own, let it match your decor. But I really like the matte finish, especially with the particle board kind of wreath frame that we're using. It's not real wood, it's that pressed like particle board, and I just like the matte finish on it a lot. I don't really care for it when it's got that weird shine to it. It doesn't work quite as well just because it soaks into that particle board a little bit. And I just never think it looks even, but maybe it's just me. Maybe my paint's old, I'm not sure, but I like the matte finish. So that's what we're going to do here. I paint the front, the back, the inside, and the outside edge. Now, of course, you don't have to paint the back. You're not going to see it once it's hung, but I like to have my projects completely finished from front to back, top to bottom. So it's really optional. We'll let those dry. Now, once they're dry, we'll take one of these hangers and we'll add it to the top. You just tap the nail in. It's quite easy to put in. And it just takes a little tiny tap with the hammer. And then we've got the hanger. And this makes it so easy to hang up on the wall when it's finished. So we'll set those aside. And again, like I said, this part's optional. I really am just doing this because I want to seal the wood, make it a little bit easier to dust, instead of just having that raw natural wood. And the color really isn't changing all that much. I'm just using a natural wood stain. It's in gel form. I did pick this up at the Dollar Tree about 2 years ago, and I'm still using it. It was just $1.25 at the time. I don't know why they had a bunch of cans of it, but they did. But again, if you don't have any wood stain, you could paint it or you can just leave it as is. It's really up to you. And we'll do, again, the top, the bottom, and then the edges. We'll let those dry. Then once they're dry, we're going to take these craft sticks and a pencil. We're going to lay the wood shelf on top of the craft stick and mark the edges that we need to trim off, because we want these sticks to be square or rectangular, I guess you would say. So you want to cut those rounded pieces off. So I'm just going to take a few to start, do about 3 of them, and I line them up. And I'm just going to mark all of them with the pencil. And then not using your best pair of scissors. Please don't use your best pair of scissors to do this, but you're just going to cut the edges off of the sticks. And then once you get a couple done, you'll want to stack them and then hold them straight up and down on the table and see if they are all the same length. If they're not, no big deal. You could either mark it with your pencil, the little portion that's sticking out, or you can just eyeball it and remove a little bit of the extra wood piece. So I can see that there's a tiny little piece that's just sticking up off the top. I trim that off and then I check it and it is the right length. So once we have them cut the right size, you can just use the cut ones as your guide. It makes it a lot easier to get them all the same height, but periodically you do want to stack them and make sure that they're all the same length and that they're not getting too short or too long on you. So then we'll go ahead and stain these as well. Again, it's not really changing the color for me. It was just a personal preference. It makes it easier to dust them off, I feel, with the seal over it with that gel stain, but it's really optional. But this would be fun to do different colors. You could paint them white. You could do like a white and gray. That would be pretty. But again, it's up to you. But we're going to stain just the top and the bottom. I don't really worry about the edge, and then we'll let those dry thoroughly. Now to put it together, we're going to start adding the sticks with a hot glue gun, and we'll use a clamp to hold them on. while they dry. And I know it looks like it's at an angle, but I promise you it's not. It's just the camera angle. I bumped it and I didn't realize it was a little bit crooked. And so it's looking like they're at an angle. So that's the top and the bottom. And this is the bottom of the wreath ring with the hanger on the back. So now we want to stick that shelf inside of the hoop, slide it down as far as you can get it to go so it's a nice snug fit, and then add one craft stick directly underneath each of side of the shelf. That's going to be some extra support for the shelf with those craft sticks underneath. But it's a nice snug fit, so it sits really tight in there, so it shouldn't budge on you. And we're going to secure this even more later on. Now, because of that, the fact that we slid the shelf down into the ring as far as we could get it to go, you're going to have more space at the top than you do at the bottom. So we're going to add more craft sticks at the top than we are the bottom. And it's really up to you how close you want to add all of these craft sticks. So as you can see, I just keep turning it and I work in sections. I do like about every 2 inches, 2.5 inches from the shelf. And then I just put one craft stick between each section. I turn it, I do it in the middle, and then like right here, you'll see I'll do them in the middle, and then I'll add more in between. So this first one that you see me finish, I really didn't have as many craft sticks as I wanted. I ended up changing it later. I wanted a lot more of those side pieces. I just thought it looked a lot nicer. And as you can see, I've already stapled some of these. And I'll show you to staple it. All you need to do, I know they're hot glue, but we want to really make sure these are secure. So all we do is we sit this up on the table and you want to hold on to it and then roll it until you have one of the craft sticks that hasn't been stapled yet. Make sure it's sitting flat on the table there, and then you'll just press down with your staple gun and staple that portion, and then just keep rolling it to the next one and staple them all the way around. And that's going to be extra secure. And we're even going to add a push pin to this later and they'll be even more secure. So like I said, this is just a demonstration for the first one. I did end up making 2 more. So I have a lot more craft sticks that I add to this. But you guys get the idea. You'll see the finished one with the extra craft sticks. So now we're taking that top hoop and we're sliding it over top of the shelf and making sure it's right on the edge. And then we'll start taking a little dot of hot glue and we'll glue the sticks to the wreath form. Now don't worry if some of them look kind of far away. It's going to line up. The craft sticks, a lot of them are warped a little bit so they don't sit completely flat, but they're pliable. You can bend them to make sure that they spread out and that they touch the wreath form. And again, those clamps you can buy from Dollar Tree, you can clamp these on to hold them in place while the glue dries, and you won't have to worry about holding it in place while it's drying. But again, I constantly am checking to make sure that the hoop is sitting flat and that it's on the very edge of that top shelf, or the edge of the shelf there, because I don't want the shelf sticking out past the hoop. You can see that I'm checking to make sure these are all going to touch the hoop, and they will. So again, you just want to take a little bit of hot glue, and sometimes it's easier to put the hot glue right on the ring and then push the craft stick towards the ring. And again, you can hold it in place, or you can use one of those clips or the clamps to hold it on. And I always clean up the excess glue because I really don't want to see that, especially on that front hoop. So you want to be mindful. If you put too much glue, it's going to ooze out towards the front. If it doesn't dry clear, if it kind of looks white when it's dry, you're going to be able to see it against that black finish. So I just keep taking a craft stick and cleaning up any excess hot glue. This one doesn't want to stay on, so that's where the clamp comes in, and that will hold it for me while it glues in, while it dries in place. And this is what it looks like so far. So if you have any little bits of craft sticks that are sticking out at the edge, you can go ahead and trim that off with a razor. But again, I'm just going around with the staple gun and I'm rolling the hoop and I'm putting the staples in. Once I have them stapled, then I just go around the whole entire hoop on both sides, and I'm taking thumbtacks and pushing it into the craft stick and then through the hoop. And that's going to be some extra security to make sure that these pieces stay put. So now we've got hot glue, a staple, and a thumbtack. And I really like the thumbtack just because it gives a little metal accent, which I really loved. And then I set the whole thing flat with that sawtooth hanger on the back, and I go all the way around the hoop, pushing a thumbtack in where each one of those wood sticks on the side are, just to add some extra metal detail. I really like the metal, and you can use silver thumbtacks if you don't like the gold. And these are quite easy to push in. If you can't push them in easily, take one of those like scoring tools that Dollar Tree sells, and you can kind of poke a little hole in the top of the wood to get it started, and that will be a little bit easier for you to get your thumbtack through. They should push right in. Shouldn't give you much trouble. As you notice, I'm holding on to that hoop on the underside while I push the thumbtack in. You don't want to just like push down really hard. It's going to make it come apart. And this is the finished shelf, all decorated. You can see it holds one of those glass orbs. It's got a glass pitcher from Dollar Tree and some flowers that I had made in the past, like these little eggs with the little sprouts coming through. So it holds, a little bit. You don't want to, put a bunch of weight on these, but definitely you can decorate the shelf and then decorate underneath of the shelf. I just love how these turned out. I think they'd be fun in different colors. It kind of has that farmhouse feel, a little bit industrial. We've got the LED candles. Don't use real candles there. And that's it, you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this video. And hit that bell button so you're notified when a new video is posted. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.